please welcome Jennifer Artebane, VP of Products at Tealium, as well as Bob Page, Chief Product Officer.
Thank you all, and welcome. Thanks for coming back from the break. I am Jennifer Artebane, our VP of Product, and with me is Bob Page, our Chief Product Officer. So we want to start by did I go the wrong way? Sorry about that. Start by just kind of framing how we think about our product and where we're going with our product into the future. And it all goes back to and starts with how we started, which of course is always thinking about our customers, what our customers are needing and wanting, and our history of bringing all of these changes to you. We were the first to pioneer tag management and the CDP. We had our first AI product over 6 years ago. We've already talked so much about all of the other things that we can do across the CDP landscape with our partners, with our clients and our customers. And we are even moving further, as we've been talking about for the last few days, into AI Stream and moving into the future with our AI-powered data layer. And I also want to highlight a lot of the great work that our teams are doing each and every day to bring more of these features and functionality to you. This is just a glimpse of some of the highlights from last year. So many fantastic innovations, whether they are enhancements to our current functionality, new tags and connectors, always wanting to make sure that you can achieve the results and the goals that you have. But before we talk a little bit about where we're going, I want to frame us into how we get there and what we think about. Specifically, our team, and I see some of them here in the audience, thank you guys so much, we think a lot about what are our customers' biggest challenges. Where are the things that they're struggling to achieve or accomplish? How can we help make sure that you're meeting your goals? 3 themes that are currently a main focus for us are around how your data is dispersed. We're seeing broader distribution of the data across your ecosystem, whether that be in your cloud data warehouse or your CRM system, flowing directly from your website through Tealium, and helping you make sure that you're bringing all of that together. A second theme that we spend a lot of time thinking about, of course, is all of the demands on that data. Your data layer has to have so much information in it because your teams downstream need to be able to do more with it. Whether it's because of the AI projects you're trying to accomplish or some of the customer experiences that you're enabling across your call center or other touch points, it's really important for us to be thinking about those. And then lastly, of course, it probably goes without saying, every person is being asked to do more with less, be able to pick up new technologies faster, be able to do things that they weren't being asked to do last year, and how can we make all of those data management aspects of your role even easier? So these are the 3 things that drive a lot of our innovation. And I want to spend just a minute talking about some of the things that we just released or are about to release before I hand over to Bob to take us into the future and help us see beyond our noses. So recently, and coming soon, recently we just released our new Consent 2.0 platform. This is an upgrade and innovation on what Tealium has always done so well, which is make sure you have your data consented and that you are being privacy first. We help you capture your data, whether you're using our own consent management platform or connecting to another one like OneTrust or a homegrown capture tool. Bring that into Tealium to then stream and use across your various outpoints and activation channels. This has always been something that Tealium has been able to do, but we've improved the functionality to make it easier, to make it cleaner, and to make sure your auditors are sleeping at night, because I know that's probably everyone's worst fear, to get that call. We want to make sure that you're getting all of the right pieces of information out there. Another area that we are spending a lot of our time and energy thinking about, and we're expanding, is into all of the places where your data is currently being captured. I talked about that distributed data landscape or distributed data ecosystem. Whether it's in your cloud data warehouse, in your CRM system, we want to help you bring all of that together, or at least tap into it where you need to so that it's available for you. We've talked about in the last few days Snowflake and Databricks, also looking at how we're connecting with Azure and Google Cloud and Amazon. All of the different big cloud providers that are out there are just another source and destination that we want to make sure you have access to at any point in time. Another area we hear a lot about is how are we ensuring that what is happening within Tealium is operating efficiently, effectively, and securely. Whether that's making sure your data is flowing through, whether that's ensuring that the connectors are firing, wherever it might be that you're trying to track that, we know that it's something that you and your teams and likely your entire development operations or sort of IT teams are looking at regularly. We've recently launched some new functionality around monitoring and managing the errors within your connectors, helping you better see that information and stream it into your monitoring systems, whether that be Splunk or Datadog. What can we do to ensure that you have the information at your fingertips to either address issues or prevent them before they ever happen? And the last one I want to touch on is something that we're very excited about. We hear from our customers regularly that sometimes our workflows are maybe less intuitive than they want them to be, that there's maybe more steps involved. And this is something that our team has spent a lot of time analyzing, looking at, and trying to improve. So across various points of the application, we are improving the workflow to make it easier to, whether it be set up a connector or an attribute, ensure that there are places that you can easily and quickly get the information you need about your versions and changes. Of course, improving how our customers are working with the software, that whether that's through the AI chatbot that just released or some of the new functionality around concurrency and version management that's releasing soon. And really exciting is that we will be updating how you navigate throughout the application. This is something that will be changing over the next few months, starting with a branding update. So you'll start to see the navigation start to look a little bit different, first by changing in color, and then over time changing to align more with the types of functionality you're trying to do and the work you're trying to do, as opposed to the names of the products that you're using. All of these things are all intended to make it easier for you to utilize Tealium, get access to your data, and bring more value. So I'm excited about all of these recent and imminent changes. Look forward to hearing that all of you are using them regularly, and I want to hand over to Bob to talk about where we're going to go beyond that.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thanks everybody. I'm going to talk a little bit about the future. We're not going to talk about AI no, I'm kidding. We are going to talk about AI. But I also wanted to say that these are not product announcements, right? This is where we're going. I want you to know where we're going. We want you to come with us, but we also want you to give us feedback on where we're going. So think of this as more directional than we're putting a flag in the ground. So I got 5 slides. So the first one, we launched Tealium for Pharma a couple of years ago and was very successful. We followed it up last year with Tealium for Healthcare. Many of the regulated industries are saying, you know, there's certain things that if you guys could do for us, would really help us out a lot. We've added, since we've done Tealium for Healthcare, we've added PHI detection and obfuscation. Many of our customers now are coming to us saying, we really need HIPAA compliant reporting. We can't get HIPAA compliant reporting from our existing tools. So it turns out their customer behavioral data, as you can imagine, is already collected and it's already enriched in Tealium. So it's a natural place to host insights. And so we're leaning in here to help. We are, I said we weren't going to announce anything, so I'm going to announce something. So we are actually doing Tealium for Healthcare. Tealium for Healthcare Insights. Tealium Insights for Healthcare. Yes, did I get that right? So it is going to be something that we're announcing today. We are going to make available to our healthcare providers, and we're very excited about it. If it turns out that it looks like something that a lot more people want outside of healthcare, outside of regulated industries, we're open to that too. But that's what we're looking at today is that. So, zero copy. As we think through what CDPs do, unlike many CDPs, we've never thought that we were the long-term repository for data. We're about real time. We're about live. We're about streaming. We're about making sure that you can capture what you need, enrich it, unify it, and then activate it in the moment, under 250 milliseconds, right, or whatever. That doesn't mean that we should have every piece of data for every person for all time. That's what you have your data warehouse for. But you also have other things besides the data warehouse where you keep your data, whether it's your CRM system, your call center system, your IVR system. There's all these different systems that have data. And sometimes it makes sense to bring them into Tealium to unify them, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you want to put them in your cloud data warehouse. So if you are trying to build an audience, then what do you do? And so we think we've got a good way to do that. So we already have good audience building technology today. We're building even more. But why have it be limited to just one place? So what we want to do is acknowledge that, like, we're not going to power Moments API, for example, with a CDW query. So let's suppose you want to build an audience of visitors that moved from, say, mid to high value in the last 18 months. Now, had you known 18 months ago that you wanted to do that, you could have set up attributes inside Audience Stream, right, or some badges. But if you didn't know that 18 months ago and you didn't set up those badges, then where would you get the data? So our audience builder will let you create that audience using whatever mechanisms you have, whether it's your CDW or your, you name the data storage mechanism that you have, may include Tealium as well, without SQL, and have it live in Tealium for real-time activation. The intent here is you get the best of both worlds. You can still do all the live stuff that we all know and love, that we work so hard on, but also all the data can live where it belongs, where your IT teams are happy with it because you're not moving the data all over the place and making copies. You've got still real-time access, but you can leverage your existing data governance, your lineage, and all the controls. So for this slide, I called it intelligent zero copy. That might not be a great name. I'm not in marketing, so but that's just the direction we're going, right? Agents, AI, agentic workflows. What Jeff said yesterday, we all fundamentally believe, I do, fundamentally believe that the future is agentic. I'm not sure what it's going to be like, because when websites don't have to, be constructed the way they are, but constructed with APIs, so that agents can go do your bidding or someone else's bidding, or multiple agents can do all that work. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out. We're thinking hard about it and how we can be a part of that. But it's also true that people are going to want to use the Tealium infrastructure and application from agents as well. Now, today, the Tealium assistant is our toe in the water, right? It's a chatbot. Today, you ask it how to do a thing. It's trained on docs.tealium.com. It looks up the answer. It gives you the answer. Now, you have to go do it. What you want is to be able to say, can you do it for me? And then have it do it. Now, is that agentic? Not really. It's not autonomous, right? But it's guided, at least. So it's still an assistant. But we want to get past that, right? You'll see many AI assistants that will help you work faster, and then a bunch of agents who will just do things on your behalf because you set up some objective function, and then it just goes and does it when it's supposed to, right? So let me give you an example. This is not agentic, but it's something that we played with that I think just shows the power of little things that we can do with AI and the platform that make a benefit to everyone. So you have a number of Tealium IQ extensions or Tealium functions. There's no documentation for this function or extension. I know that never happens, but bear with me. And the original developer is no longer in your department. So we've got this little thing that we've got with Gen AI where it reads the code and it says, well, here's what this is doing. It writes a description for you, and then you can add that with the function. So now you've got metadata, you've got the ability to go search, you've got the ability to understand what this thing does, and you say, wow, okay, I didn't know we had one of those. That's really cool. Pretty simple, and not agentic, but it is AI, and it's cool stuff, right? So, we'll go from how do I do this, to do this for me, to suggest new things that maybe I didn't think about, but you know what I do because you're watching what I do, right? To like, let's work with a team of specialists around some objective function. I want to say it's easy to stand up here and wave my hand and be very excited about this stuff, but I also want to acknowledge that in many of our companies that we work with, and particularly on the regulated industry side, they don't want AI, right? Or if they do, they want us to sign in blood that like we've trained it on, innocent bystanders and, no goats were hurt in the filming of this, model, and all the things that go into it, right? And that we won't use it for ill will in any way on their behalf, blah, blah, blah. So, great. Of course we'll do all those things. But the important thing is that we're not going to turn any of this stuff on by default. Everything is going to be opt-in, and if you or your policy of your company is no AI until we vet this thing, no AI at all. Don't even read my code and write in the description. Don't even have a chatbot that looks at docs.tealium.com. I want everything off for all of AI for Tealium. We'll respect that. Or you might say, I'm okay with it on, but I need to opt in to every single thing. So we'll have little checkboxes for all the AI tools and tooling and features that we have. And you'll be able to say, the chatbot's okay, but this other stuff, no, we don't want that on. We want to give you full control. And then finally, to be able to do this, a lot of this stuff, especially on the AI side, requires that we invest more heavily into our API infrastructure. So, and you've told us that you want us to automate, you want to automate and extend Tealium. And so when I say API coverage, when I say we're going to expand, we're going to provide SDKs, we'll provide Swagger docs, we'll provide all the things, it's not so that we can have an ISV start building new applications on top of Tealium. I would like that. Maybe we'll do that someday. Maybe I'll see you all at the 2027 Tealium Developers Conference, but that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is that our enterprise customers want to be able to script and automate Tealium. And they don't want to have to go into the user interface all the time and sort of clicky, right? If I can have an API interface, or if I can have like configuration, from code, or code as configuration, and be able to put things in, say, GitHub, and do all those kinds of things. So we're listening, we understand, we hear you, and so we're working on all that. No product announcement, but it's something that we're really serious about. And then at the bottom here, it says Marketplace for Tealium add-ons. I confused some of the folks in our customer advisory board a couple days ago when I said that, because Marketplace in this instance doesn't mean we're going to have a store. We're not going to have an app store where you can go and pull things and buy things and license stuff and all that. We call, like if you go to our where we have our connectors, for example, our integrations, we call it a marketplace. So it's really a catalog, quite honestly, is what we're talking about here. And the catalog initially would be something so that you and your organization can find out what each of you has done in this area, whether it's some agent or some piece of code or whatever it might be, that you've created a script or something that you can say, hey, here's where this lives. Anyone can have access to it or whatever it might be. It's also useful for partners because partners might say, I want to be able to have this and host it and have all of my clients be able to get to it. So that's what we're talking about around the marketplace. So those are the big ones. The intent here is really, as we're thinking about the future, we're thinking about what's next, what's beyond the CDP, right? And so our intent is to sort of stream beyond, if you will, the CDP. Because we think that while the CDP has great legs, it's a wonderful business, it has a lot of value, there's a lot of things that we can do around it and under it that's also going to add a lot of value, especially as AI starts to permeate all other parts of our lives. So We think that with these innovations, we're redefining and reimagining what's possible with real-time customer data. In my mind, in our minds, this becomes an open system that anticipates your needs. It feeds your AI systems without having to do data wrangling. It ensures compliance, all while delivering measurable business value. So one last thing, and that is thank you. I know it's the end of the conference, or almost the end of the conference. Don't go. We have another speaker. But we still have, our Beast Bar, if you want to chat with any of our product managers. Any of the Tealium folks at the event, follow-up discussions with your account team, please. And thank you for being Tealium customers and partners. And when I say this, I mean it. Like, I believe that you are our secret weapon. So thank you for your input and your attendance.